with me, my friend Amit Sangale is also going to lead in this session. So here we'll discuss about scriptless automation using UiPath, where we'll discuss in different areas. So before proceeding further, I would like to inform you this is a complete series we have planned for the end-to-end automations, where we will going to cover different topics. If you want to do the RSPP, just go to the test automations here, and inside the test automation series you will find it out total E series was planned. So right now we have just make it public for 3 of the events. Soon you will get other notifications to have all 8 series in test automations, where we will going to discuss about how to do web test case automation, desktop automation, mobile automation, then API automations. After that we'll cover integration with the HPALM tool or ALM tool with the UiPath Test Suites, then CI/CD pipeline, and finally we will have 1 hour of the sessions where you can ask about anything related to the test suites or testing methodologies. So these are the basic stuff we are going to cover in alternate 2 weeks. We have the sessions. So today's is 20th, so next session will be on 3rd, so you can find it out the detail from the forum itself. So that's all. If you want to attain and learn about complete test automations suits or the UiPath test suits, then I would recommend to go through all the series so that you will to understand everything. So this small introduction about Amit. Amit is the co-founder of Step One Step Ahead, and with me and Amit, we are going to handle out the introduction about test suits, and we have also planned for some of the good surprises for you. So we'll keep in every session, we'll keep some scenarios or some test questions where you can answer it and get it that surprises at your home. So over to you, Amit. You can start presenting your screen and
Thanks, Deepak. Thanks, everyone, for all your participation. I can see that lots of people are joining for this webinar. So thanks for that. So let me present my screen first. So Deepak, I hope my screen is visible.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So as Deepak is introduced about the, we are coming up with the test suite series, right? So this is a part 1 where we have given the introduction about the scriptless test automation, right? And in entire series, you will see lots of automation, how we can automate the different platform, different application with the UiPath test suites, and which is a scriptless test automation. So let's proceed further. Let's see the today's agenda now. So in today's agenda, we'll see the test automation, what is the test automation and how we can start test automation. What are the challenges currently with the scripting test automation which we are facing? Then what is the scriptless test automation? How scriptless test automation overcome all these challenges and how it's providing the solution for the test automation. Then we'll see about UiPath test suite and the UiPath test suite capabilities regarding the test automations. And after that, if you guys any other questions, so we'll answer your question. So that's the agenda which we have. So let's start with the test automation. So most of the folks, you guys are knowing about the test automation, right? So whenever in our project, right, whatever application we are testing, those manual test cases are there, and those test cases which we need to automate it to escalate about the regression testing, right? And the if you want to do make your product or your application go live as soon as possible, we need to be speed up with your functional testing, regression testing, right? But if manually it is not possible, then only option is there. We have to be switching the automation, right? And all these test cases can be executed through the automations. So that's a simply way of how we are dealing in test automation. But whenever any organizations or any project we have starting the test automation, so there are some 6 steps are there which we need to be go one by one for successfully any test or setup test automation. First one is to define your goals, right? So what is the objective of test automation? It should be clear. So some projects there will be a goal to automate the regression test pack, some project to automate the smoke test pack, or business scenarios should be automated. Whenever we want to run on different environments, QA or production or pre-prod, so we can. So different automations goals are there. So first we need to understand those goals, and as per that goal, we have to be plan our approaches and strategies how we can start it. So planning and automation strategy is very important. So we decide over there. And then 3 and 4 step, which is most important, it's come technical part, selecting of the right automation framework, the framework which is important part of the in successful automation. It should be a robust, right? It should be have the easiness, it should be easily configured with any third party application, or it can be a scalable level. It should be having the low maintainability, right? So different advantage which you're looking for setting up the any framework. So that selection of the framework is very important as per the goal which we have defined for the test automation journey. And then the tool, selecting the test automation tool. So as we know, in the market there are different test automation tools are there. So depends on the platform to platform. Some tools we can use for the mobile, for web or desktop. Depending on that, we can use those tools, those technologies. So we can select as per our need, and then we develop the test cases. The automation tester will setting up everything and design those, develop those test cases, execute those cases, and deploy for the ready to use whenever we need a regression test suite executions. And whenever in some changes in the application, again do the maintenance of those test cases and script. So these are typically journey of the any test automation, right, which we know that, and which generally everyone is following, right? But going through this journey, there are also lots of challenges, lots of I mean pain point which we have seen that generally with to adopting a smooth test automation, customer is always facing, right? So based on that, we have list out scripting test automation challenges. So here we are talking about the scripting. So if you're going with the scripting test automation, right? If your organization have the vision to start a test automation and they're starting the scripting tools, test automation, right? We have started going well, but some challenges always are there. So based on experiences, based on the whenever dealing with the client, we're understanding what is their pain points, where they're struggling, right? So based on we have listed down all these challenges over here. You can see in my screen. So first is the major challenges depend on different test automation tool, right? We have to understand those tools first, and whatever the scripting language is required or coding is required, that scripting language coding we need to be understand those syntax or those language structures. So everything we need to be understand, and it also be depends on different application. Suppose if you have web application, you have mobile applications, or you have desktop or SCP based application. So depend on your application, we need to switch on different tools, and those tools, those languages we need to understand. So it's one of the biggest challenges for any organization to adopt the automation team, right? They have the expert of those people, they having the different scripting language knowledge or experiences, different hands-on experience on different tools. Then only they can automate the different kind of application, because all the automation tools, they have some limitation depending on the platform. Some automation tools, they can be automate your web application, but for the mobile you have to add another tool, or for desktop your another languages. So depending upon the another plugins. So there are different challenges are there, and all these limitations are there with these tools, right? So that next point is we are not able to cover the maximum test automation. Coverage is not there, right? So obviously, if my whatever tool, automation tool I'm adopting, right, that tool they have certain limitation. Definitely there are some limitations, right? So we're not able to fully automate our test cases, right? So this is again a pain point which the client is facing all the time, right? They're not able to leverage test automation for fully whatever test cases they have. So then some part of the test cases can be handled by the automation, and few part can be handled by the manually. Again, the manual intervention is required. So it is not everything can be handled by the automations. So that again, so the pain point which customer is facing all the time, or all the organization are facing. Then the all these scripting based automation tools which in the market, which is going on the market, those have very high infra. So all this infra setup is required to set up and configure those infra, those plugins and packages, right? Those drivers, which is very hectic, right? We need to go to whenever we start any automation, we can't go and quickly start it. It's not a plug and play. We can start it. We need to first set up all the infra, every drivers and all the setup of configurations, right? So which is most difficult, and again depend on different drivers or plugins versions. We need to be manage entirely our test automation environment setup, right? So this is again become a more complex as well, and that is a sometime challenging whenever the automation scripts are getting fail as well, if your infra is not set up as per different versions to versions. To manage those infra setup and those tools as well, it is again a pain point which we are seeing. Then the framework is very important part, right? So again, so depend upon the objective, depend upon the application platform, we need to change our framework. If you want to do the web application automation, then we have a web framework. For the mobile, another framework. So different framework, different tools we require to achieving the automation goal. So that's another pain point which we have seen, that we need to change the different framework again to developing and designing those framework and solutions. Organization also having add those different kind of technical high experiences persons as well. So that again to manage everything is very difficult. And the next point is facing the issues to capture the object with different technology applications, right? So whenever in automation, if you're going with the UI automation, to capture the elements, each and every elements of this particular application is very important. If you're not able to capture those element, you're not able to do any kind of automation. You stuck it, right? So this is the biggest pain point which we have seen, that in the scripting automation. For example, on a screen, some Windows based pop-ups are there, or some browser based pop-up are there that not able to be handled, right? Or there is some iframes are there, right? So we can easily automate those things, or application built up in some other technology, Java or any other technologies, right? So it depend on your objects capturing also difficult. Sometimes you're able to capture, sometimes you're not able to capture. If you're not able to capture those objects, then again this particular step or test cases, it will goes for the manual. So that's a again pain point which we're getting. And nowadays all these web applications are coming with a dynamic objects. So those objects are continuously getting changed, right? To handle those dynamic objects, it's again a pain point with the scripting automation tool, right? Each and every time to handle those objects, it is getting changed. So that's why it's impacting your maintenance efforts larger, right? So there's a no robust solution to handling your objects, your elements for the automation with the scripting automation. That is a biggest pain point. And once you're done with the automation and you're running your script, but again your script is not uh, that level mature, it will fail all the time, right? Sometimes it's infra issue, sometimes it's a dynamic object issue, sometimes it's a speed issue, synchronization of your speed with the application performance issues. So all these issues are causing to failure of your test automation end-to-end execution. So you will not get the robust automation. So let's say if you plan 100 test cases in one go, and then maybe somewhere it will stop, and it will stop your or interrupt your entire automation due to some other issues, some exceptions are there, right? So these are the again major pain point which people are facing. End-to-end robust automation, they're not able to run the entire test suite with end-to-end ways, right? Because let's imagine if you're doing the regression test suite, right? And I have to, I mean, use it very fastly with this entire regression test cases, right? And I have the automation test source, and which is failing continuously, right? So obviously that we will get frustrated, and we can use on we are doing the manual ways because we don't have enough time, right? Because of the my test automation, whatever we have built up, which is not a robust level, which is continuously getting failing because of any issues, and that is typically happening with the scripting automation tool, because obviously infra issues are there, sync up with the speed of with the object, dynamic getting changed with the application. So those are issues are there, but these are tools not enough matured or intelligent to handle all these things. So definitely it will get fails, right? Then again, we are working in agile mode nowadays. So everywhere we required a quick development of everything. So whatever test automation scripts we are planning, it should get developed very quickly. But again, we need to write each and every code for every steps, every assertion. So it's very difficult to any test automation engineer to develop the automation script very faster, right? So again, to ready of the entire test automation suits and to use it, it will take lots of time. So there is no quickness to use going with the scripting test automation, right? And then I think I already mentioned depending on the different. So whenever we needed some, if you want to do the, let's say, Excel automation in scripting automation, you need to be go and add Excel plugins or Excel level jar files, right? If you are do email automation, then again for email automation, whatever driver related email automation plugins for email automation, that separately we need to go and install, we have to set up, and then we have to start the email automation. Okay. So these are, so whenever we have to do different kind of automation, we always need to set up those plugins, those additional open source code and driver. Sometimes it's reliable, sometimes not reliable. So again, those challenges are always there to handling with different libraries, and so that's why it's getting failure sometimes, right? And all these things are causing to the maintenance level. So you're done with the automation, but in a maintenance, your changes are obviously coming in your test cases, right? To develop those changes very quickly, so they can your whatever script you have developed, it can be used in the next regression suits. But again, those automation, it takes lots of time development, and it's very complicated to maintain those test script in a faster way. So it's very high maintenance is required, high effort we have to spend, and also cost also need to be spent to maintain entire test suite, which is run very smoothly. And let's say whenever if your script is getting failure, and definitely the chance of defect missings also are there. So these are the typically challenges where we have seen that the people or the organization, those are facing with the scripting test automation if they're adopting scripting test automations. Okay, but to overcome all these challenges, we need to be switch on different technologies, right? There are tools in the market or technology in the market like a scripted test automation, which helping of those technologies, those tools, those challenges we can easily solve. So let's see about the first scriptless test automation. What is scriptless test automation? So it's a feature of the automation industry, definitely, because it is massive. It's a complete automation test suite solution which can be created in your agile or DevOps environment. So if you want to make it very faster, your script development, automation test case development, which is very faster. So 50%, as per our analysis, we have seen that which is 50% faster than the traditional automation tool in terms of the development of your test cases. And also in the maintenance, it is a 70% faster, 70% faster rate which you can achieve for the maintaining of your test cases. Okay. In the script automation tool, we don't need to write any code, right? So that's why it's scriptless. So no scripting background is required, no coding background is required. All the activities, whatever, if you want to do a web automation, Excel automation, PDF automation, email automation, whatever the automation related things, you have to do that without any programming, you can do it, right? So all the plugins are available, so all the activities are already available as per your test case, as per your steps. You just have to use it, that's it only. So it's a drag and drop technology tool are there, everything is there, right? And it can easily set up. So you don't need to any high infrastructure setup or high installation setup or configuration. It's very used. You can just install, you can just set up, if that's it only. So it's very easy to anyone without having a technical expertise or any coding background. Any person can go, they can learn this tool, they can adopt this tool, and they can easily configure and they can develop their test cases, which is 50% faster than other tools. So this is the scriptless automation, which is the will be the future of the automation industry, and lots of organization clients which are adopting these technologies because it is solving lots of pain point whichever we have currently facing with this scripted test automation tool. So let me showcase some of the example how this scriptless test automation, it will be a solution oriented as compared with the scripted test automation. So first, it support all technologies. So these scriptless test automation, it support all technologies. So doesn't matter your application is built up on a web or in a desktop, in mobile, in API or database, whatever you have to test it. So it support with end to end. So whatever interfaces are there, it can be support. Let's say some tests you are doing in a web platform, and then it need to be a check in a mobile platform, and then after you need to be check in database or APIs. So all these different integrations, right? You can easily achieve in this scriptless test automation using UiPath test suites, right? So it support all technologies, code-free automation. You don't need to write any code, right? So everything, all the packages, plugins, activities, whatever you have to do, it is already available. You just have to use it as per your required. Okay. And due to this, it supports all technologies. It have the maximum test automation coverage, because whenever if the organization have the objective to leverage, maximize the test cases with the automation, right? So definitely we need a tool which support all technologies, everything, right? So that's why scriptless test automation tools, they can help you to maximize your test automation coverage. So you can manual dependency, it will very minimal. Okay. Then next important part is the stable and resilient object recognition. So the methodologies, obviously, if you're doing with the UI automation, the capturing those objects, those elements is very important, right? And this challenge we are facing with the scripted automations. But in scriptless test automation, with UiPath test suites, you will not facing those challenges. This they have very solid object identification app, so which can be go and which can be inspect your entire objects with different ways, different methodologies. They have an image based automation also are there. If somewhere you're not able to automate, not able to capture those objects, so image automation also are there. So there is a very, it's very powerful to capturing different technologies objects. So that's why it's very strong and can be a support all technologies, and that's why we're able to auto maximum test automation coverage. And due to its drag and drop technologies and stable object recognitions, right? So we can develop the script very faster, 50% faster. We can develop the scripts, and in between your script, when your script is running or you're developing, right? You're getting some errors are there. You have to handle some exception. So all these exception management also are there in this tool, right? So whatever exceptions are there, your script maybe is getting failure, but it should not interrupt to further planned test cases. So all the exceptions are can be handled very intelligently. So that's why it's very powerful. So that's why you can smoothly run your entire test automation pack in a one go with exception handling ways. Then it's easy of maintenance, right? So we can very easily 70%, as I mentioned, 70% accuracy which we're getting while maintaining of those test script at a maintenance phase, right? And it have the capabilities like as orchestration, because whenever we have deploy our test script for the end-to-end executions, right? So somewhere we need to monitor, somewhere we need to check their logs without doing the particular test automation execution machine, right? So there is a one platform where we can see that, where we can schedule the jobs, where we can see the logs, which are test cases are fail or pass, why is getting fail. So everything we can control, we can monitor, we can orchestrate. Okay, so that's again one of the good features which we're getting with the scriptless test automation tool. You don't need to go and that particular automation machine where test scripts are running. You don't need to go. You can just monitor from your dashboard, and you will get entire logs and entire execution details as well. So it's very easy to schedule your automation. So without any human intervention, right? You can schedule it whenever you require. So let's say after a week, you have a regression test plan. Will start it. So you can schedule right now as well, and it will go and it will run your test automation for that particular day and time whenever you have planned, right? So it's that's why it's very easy to use and adopt as well in terms of the execution mode. These all tools, they have the AI and cognitive capabilities as well. So whenever in use case you require those kind of features, then you can also use it. It supports OCR automation as well. So with OCR with the Abby or with Testtrack with different OCR engines. So if you're dealing with the PDF automation or any kind of OCR based automation, so you can use OCR as well. And it have advanced recording features, so you can record your web application, mobile application, your Citrix, mainframe, those application as well. So and desktop application also. So it have very advanced recording features. So without writing any code and scripting, we can record as well. So there are two ways we can record as well, and without you can also develop your test case with the activities, drag and drop ways, right? So this is the way how this scriptless test automation, it's become a solution now as compared with the scripting test automations. So now I just want to give now head to head exactly. So I've discussed about automation and how automation, the ways should be adopt the organizations, and after that, what is the scripting automation challenges, and what is scriptless automation, and what is the solution. Now to conclude everything, so we have the quickly the head to head with the scriptless and scripted testing. So you can see that there's some parameters, right? So with the scripting skills, with the scriptless testing, if you're doing that, it's very minimum scripting you required, maybe sometimes some expression, but you don't require any programming knowledge, right? It is there inside the tools. And if you're going with a scripted, obviously long test scripts, you need to be write the code and good programming knowledge with different uh, programming languages you required. Script management, it's very minimum. It can be handled very easily inside the tools. But here we have to be whenever you're doing very small changes, any changes with somewhere in your script, we need to be managed very properly, right? Because all script management also be part of this tool level. People involved. So in scripted test automation, your business stakeholders, your business analysts, test clients, manager, everyone can involve, because they can see the automation results. They can run the automation by their self as well. They can be a participant over there. But if you're going a scripted test automation, only test automation engineer or QA person, they can be only they're handling the entire test automation, because again all these technical errors are there, all these logs, everything analyze. So all these non-technical people, they can't understand those things, right? So that's why they're only involvement of the QA testers only. And learning curve, it's very shallow. Scriptless test automation, you just have to understand those particular tools. That's it only. But here in scripted testing, depend on your use case, depend on your platform, depending upon the tools, you have to be learn different languages and their programming structures. Infrastructure setup time, it's very low. Here it's very high and very complicated as well, right? To compatible with different versions and OS, all these things you have to check up with different drivers and plugins, but it's very low in scriptless test testing. Test setup and execution, it's very quick. You can quickly set up, you can quickly develop and quickly execute your test case and quickly maintain as well. But in a scripting testing, it will take a lots of time, because infrastructure development of the all the test case with the scripting and then maintenance, so it take a huge time, right? So this is the head to head, or this is a comparison I just want to show you, right, with these scriptless and scripted testing. So now I would like to be hand over the further sessions to my friend Deepak Rai, so he can walk us through if we are going with the scriptless test automation, right, and what is the solution I already discussed. But in terms of the tool level or capability level, how UiPath Test Suite is more powerful and have all these capabilities, right? So we can see in deeper now with their products, how we can leverage the scriptless test automation. So Deepak, please pick up now.
Yeah, thank you, Amita, for the detailed introduction about that scriptlet automations. So now here we'll discuss about UiPath Test Suites, which is having combination of our test manager, Studio Pro, Orchestrator, and robots. So generally, when we are talking about test manager is a place where we are managing all of our test cases, settings or configuration related things. We can also plan then with the integration of different reporting tools like Redmine and Jira, we can also log the defect. So test manager is a complete solution package where we can configure it. Even we can create them with multiple roles as well. So when we are creating and managing these things, it will be in the administrator role. We can also create some other roles as well. So test manager is for the enterprises where if any enterprise wants to launch any specific project, and that project or product is required for some testing requirement, then that organizations can use it for the automation need. And if all these test cases will be automated, they will manage it through test manager. Then Studio Pro is a second part where we can automate our all of our stuffs like web-based automations, like desktop automations by using this tool. So it's a production grade automation capability in UiPath where we are utilizing it for the automation need. So generally, this is a complete package based on the different library or different packages. We can utilize this package for automation. Let's consider one example here. If we have one test case which is required image validations. So if we are comparing the logo of any particular company, so generally how the structures will be verified. So first it will go to the page or the go to the website from any particular enterprises, capture the image, and that will verify with the old images as well. We can also set any other validations related to it. So if it is a part of image validations or text verifications or capturing some of the text from the portals, where we can utilize Studio Pro. By using Studio Pro, we can automate our required things into a product category. Next is orchestrator. So when it comes to the orchestrator things, let's say we have some of the test cases are automated and we don't want to keep it into our local system. So generally in orchestrator, maybe we can store our test cases or automated test cases, and from there any of our team member who is having access, they can schedule it, monitor it, or even execute it. So generally this is a cloud platform where we are managing all of our sets together. So let's say we have two environments, UAT and QA. So in this type we can do the bucketing. So generally it will first run into the first environment as a UAT, second environment as a QA. So we can categorize this thing together. Generally for test manual test driven technology, what happen if we receive the build at midnight? Generally that time person will not be available or tester will be not available. So in that case we can schedule it. So once the release will be available or the time will reach to the duration, that time it will automatically start so generally, this is the part or this is a piece where we are doing orchestrations. We can distribute our test cases, analyze detail about the test cases. We can also see the complete execution report in terms of complete executions. Let's say if you want to categorize it, so by using test manager, we can um, uh, get all this execution report into such a visual graphs. So if you want to share that, we can take a snap and share with our business team as well, so that they will also aware of it. We have executed these many test cases and what was the durations, and when we have started, in which versions we have started. We can also monitor it. So orchestrator is a place where we can also create a role specific. Many of us already aware of it. So these are the four components of the UiPath test suites. By using these four components, we can make our life easy. We can automate all of us our stuff by easily. Robots again. So let's say if we have a robot for the development, we can also create a robot for the testers. Then we can also create a robot for the some other person who is working along with us. So generally we can divide our robots based on the requirement. So let's say if we have a person who is working on test manager and he has automated their test cases, and these test cases are deployed into the orchestrator, but that time which robots this will use? So the robots which is assigned to the tester, that robot will be automatically used for the running of the complete script. So this is how the test suites package, where we are getting from the UiPath, and we are getting a flexibility to manage all of our automations or a test automation piece together. Next slide, please. Yeah. So which all capabilities we have in terms of UiPath test suites? First will be web-based automations. So if you can see here, web-based automations, we have already planned it for the detailed session about these topics. So in further part, we'll definitely discuss with the various example or various use cases, industry level use cases, I can say. So if you talk about the web-based applications, these are the platform or desktop application, mobile application, database, API. These are the platform we can automate it easily by using UiPath test suites. When it comes to the web-based applications, if if we can take an example of e-commerce website like Flipkart, Amazon, we want to place an order. Rather than placing an order manually, we can also place an order by using UiPath automation piece. So this is one of the example in web-based applications. In desktop application, let's say we want to launch an applications and do some of the stuff. Let's consider Excel application. So Excel is one of the desktop applications which is available into our desktop. So our bot will go to the Excel applications, open that Excel applications, enter some of the details, to save this detail, and then close. The task of the bot will be completed. So if this is a repetitive task, we want to automate it into desktop applications, we will be easily achieve it by using UiPath Test Suites. Next, mobile applications, which is again advanced capability of UiPath. So if we have some of the Android applications or iOS application to be automated, we can also automate it via using UiPath. A database API is again a similar way. When it comes to the ERP or SAP related application, these are the complex applications. Automating these type of application is not at all easy. But UiPath is also giving a capability or flexibility to automate SAP related things. They have a built a very nice set of packages where by using these packages, we can automate our SAP related. Many of the industries or companies are always also utilizing this type of activities. But if we want to do some other like configuration related thing, then in SAP, or if we want to manage templated, these all options we can automate it via using UiPath Test Suites. Citrix and mainframe is again a part of which we are using from the ages into the UiPath itself. So which all solutions we have when we are looking into the platform, and by discussing this platform, let's say if we are working in web-based applications, which all solutions we have. So let's consider web-based application. Just automating functionality is not a complete coverage of our test cases. Cross-browser testing is also required. Let's say if we have automated our set of applications or a set of web-based application in Google Chrome, and our client is trying to run into the Internet Explorer, that won't work, right? So generally we have to automate that into the every set of applications. And how it is easy to automate it in the cross-browser testing for the any web-based application in UiPath. If we compare with some other solutions or some other applications automation framework, it won't be that much easy, which we can achieve it by using UiPath. Then BDD framework or business driven development and testing, we can easily achieve it. So if you will see the framework, like here we have BDD framework. By using BDD framework, we will categorize our configurations in a different part that is working in give, when, and then structure. So this structure we can first configure it into our UiPath test suites. Then we can plan how it will start executing, and then we will get the results. Then data driven testing, when we are creating any of the test cases, you will be able to see how we'll add the test cases. So generally these type of inside the test cases, how we'll add the test data. So testing any test cases or any set of test suits on single data is again a easy task. But if we have variation of data, definitely if we have not captured or not covered everything about the applications, our automation flow will break. So generally we have to include good or rich content in the data perspective. So data driven testing is also a very important part. Parallel test executions is again important features which we'll achieve it by using UiPath. Then a very important part, CI/CD, that is continuous implementation and continuous development. So generally, if we have created some test automation pieces and that is completed right now, we are working in some other places, and down the line, if we want to upgrade it in terms of applications. So what happened? Generally, these type of application updations will break our sequence of code which we have automated. So it's always demanding to have CI/CD pipeline to be set for our automation piece or the product which we have built it, so that down the line, whenever they will run this type of automation framework or the code, it will work perfectly fine. So CI/CD integration with the Jenkins in UiPath is very easy. Generally, if we want to integrate with Jenkins with other test framework or test automation tool, it is not at all easy. Here we have already set off the packages. By using that, we can easily integrate our Jenkins, and we can create a CI/CD pipeline by using Jenkins with the UiPath, which we will cover in the 7 sessions in detail, where we'll show some of the examples uh, to integrate it by using CI/CD in Jenkins by using UiPath. End-to-end testing is again a important part, so we will cover it via using test suites, then data generations, HTML reporting, then integration with the ALM tools. So right now we have two of the ALM tools. Our integrations are easily available. One is X-ray and Jira. Even we can integrate with some other ALM tools like HPALM, which UiPath is giving a flexibility. So by using this, we can also generate execution report. So if you've seen uh, after executions, it will generate some of the execution report, which is generally business team and development team or solution teams are asking to give the proofs of concept, how much you have tested, which all coverage you have covered it. So generally these type of reports are will be required at the time of giving or certifying any of the builds. So it will automatically create an execution report end to end. We have the activities or even that execution report flow, we can download it through test manager. But by if we are not using test manager, then also we can achieve it by using test manager. Sorry, we will achieve it by using Studio Pro or Studio by with some of the activities. So there are a few of the activities are available. By using this, we'll generate a execution report as well as the recording of our steps which is performed by the UiPath itself. So every steps will be performed at the UiPath. Let's say navigations to the websites, then placing an order, then after order it is verifying the payment details and all. So these all steps will be recorded and stored into the uh, either the S3 buckets, or we can also store into our local device as well. So generally these type of proof will be required at the time of showcasing, or maybe if we'll have any issues inside the applications that we want to capture some of the details. So rather than going back and capturing this detail, it will automatically record that step, which will attach it in terms of defect recordings, right? So generally these are the solutions which is helping UiPaths to make a better product to automate all of these platforms like web, desktop, mobile, database. And generally we have less code. That's why we are, since beginning, we are calling as a scriptless automation tool. So here the objective, we are achieving it by using UiPath test suites. So then reusability of the code is also again important. Then the object repository which we have. So let's say we have a build solutions in project one and automation piece in project one. Consider Excel automation piece. Let's say we have automated Excel automation, and same type of example is available in next applications or next product. So generally, rather than creating it again, we will use it this package into the next set. So over there, we are saving the time of our resources, which is a very important part that we will achieve it by using UiPath test suites. Then object repository will also have a good set of object repository where we can utilize this to minimize our effort. So Abdur, we have this session is for the complete theory. From next session onwards, we are starting with practical demo. We will demonstrate each and every sessions like web-based applications. Then for the second part, we have the third part, we have the desktop application automations that we are covering into the from the next session onwards. So next, please. Yeah. So that's all we have from this. If you have any questions, you can unmute yourselves and ask your queries here.
Hello, Deepak, and hello, Amit. Thanks for the detailed presentation. That was quite useful. So this is Abdur, by the way. I have one small question. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yes.
So as you have stated that this is a codeless automation, right? So do we have do we have the facility to automate the shadow DOM elements as well? Because there are many applications like Salesforce, ServiceNow. They have the loops of nested shadow DOMs. So do we cover those automation as part of it?
So Shadow DOM applications, we will be able to achieve it, but right now in this series, like you said, Salesforce and ServiceNow, we are not covering here. But generally, we'll try to explain that type of scenario in a further part. But yes, UiPath is having capability to automate that stuff as well.
Sure. So it has a capacity, right?
Yes,
So you
yes.
have to show me in the next session the demo, so I'll be able to figure it out.
Yeah, sure.
Correct? Yeah.
Even many of the industries are already utilizing this automation suites for SAP or as well as ServiceNow as well as Salesforce. They are already using this test suites for automating their internal processes.
Okay, so already it is part of this. Okay,
Yes,
fine.
yes. You will find it on many of the videos on the YouTube as well, where the product team already demonstrated on SAP, Salesforce, and ServiceNow. Even you can, if you can search on my channel, so you'll find it on integration related things. I have tried to cover few of the stuffs on ServiceNow and Salesforce both.
Okay, all right. Yeah, that was quite useful. Thank you.
Any other questions from anyone?
So, hi, my name is Ashish. A question from a different perspective. I tried to learn UiPath, as in I already started taking small baby steps. So the first aspect is when we set up UiPath, should we select Studio or Studio X? Like, can somebody tell everybody what's the difference?
Okay. So, okay, let me ask this question. So, Studio, so if you are using only for the RPA development or testing development, you can go with the Studio. And Studio AX, it's more kind of the subject matter expert or the business persons, right? They have some kind of limitation of the, let's say, a small piece of the Excel automation, Outlook automation, those kind of business procedure stuff they want to be automated, they can go for the Studio X. But typically for the development, RP development or test automation development, you'll go with the Studio Pro only.
So just to follow up that question, so Studio as a version, as a community version, this sort of unlimited license, right? There's no time limitation that after 15 days it will be switched off or something like that.
No, the community version is available for the 60 days, but that is on the recurrent basis. I mean, they are renewing automatically, so you don't need to worry about it. And as per your question, Studio X will be majorly used by the business person only. So if you are
Okay.
looking forward to automate your stuff, or you want to learn the coding stuff, it's always recommended to go ahead with the Studio, so that you will get more out of it rather than directly jumping with the Studio X.
Understood. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Any other question from anyone?
I have one question, Abdur again.
Yeah.
So is this tool a licensed one, or how is it? Like the Selenium part, which is open source, or this is completely licensed?
So community version is absolutely free in terms of Studio. You have a Studio Pro, and Studio X. But in terms of test manager, it to come with the licensing charges. But yes, that is only for the enterprises. Those who are doing business, they have to pay for it. but community version is absolutely free of cost.
Okay.
Community version means from practice perspective, you can use it.
Sure.
So we have 5 minutes more. Any question, guys?
So another question, obviously, please don't get me wrong. I already have automation experience. That's why maybe the questions maybe at an advanced level. But like anywhere else, we create a method and when we just call it right from different scripts. So here, how do we kind of create that kind of method or any reusable component?
Good question. That's a good question. So it's a part of the framework as well. So there is a common workflow. Okay. So here whatever things we are coding or we are developing, it's called a workflows, right? So whenever we have to reuse those module again and again, so we are creating one common workflow, and wherever required, we are calling those workflow. So there is an invoke workflow is one activity is there in UiPath. Using that activity, whatever your workflow you have created, whenever you want to reuse it, you can invoke it. So with this way, we can reuse the same workflow, different automation test scripts.
All right, thanks.
Hello, Amit. I have a question for you. But I'm also new to this RTA, but I do have experience in other RPA process developments. So you said you will be covering the practical demos in the next sessions. So, but is there any separate invites for those sessions, or the same link we have to join?
No. So as Deepak has already mentioned, so there's in UiPath community event page. You can go and you can subscribe yourself. So Deepak, can you just show it again? How they can subscribe for the or they can participate?
That would be really helpful.
Yeah. I think Deepak has already shared the link here for the session in the chat as well. Tanaji, you can check on the links those in the chat section.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? So from the next series of the in this series, next part 2 will mostly focus on the practicals, right? So you will see the things in action mode, how we can quickly develop those things and we can run it and we can achieve whatever we have mentioned, right? The different platform and solutions. You can see that. Okay. All right. So I think we don't have any other questions.
Okay, yeah. So we are considering there is no questions from here.
Hi, Deepak. I have one small doubt, like with the questions that we had just now. So, what's like for reusable component, whether we make a workflow or we make a library, what's the difference? Like we can
both will work fine for you. Workflow, if you are using into similar type of projects, generally, let's say if you are creating the library, the person who is using that library, if they want to update it, probably they won't be able to update it. Some small, let's say small changes like text changes. So in library, you won't be able to update it. But if you are creating a common workflow, you will be able to update it, right? Because library will be created in NuGet packages where the other person won't be able to modify it. But in common workflow, any
exactly.
person who is working inside your team or who is working along with you, they will be able to modify it. So any small changes will not required to go back to the library person who has created it. They themselves modify it. So both way it will work fine for you. It means reusability components.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
So one more question I want to ask, that how you are estimating your project that it will take this much amount of time? What are those parameters?
So there are different. Yeah. Please go ahead, Amit.
Good question. You are asking how estimation. So yes, the different parameters are there. So first number the parameter your test cases. If you're automating your test cases, what are the count of your test cases, and each and every test cases we have defined the complexity: high complexity, low complexity, medium complexity. And this complexity comes on the, so my one test case have a 5 steps, or next another test case have a 10 steps or 15 steps. So depend upon the number of the steps and number of the assertions points or verification point, we are defining the complexity of those test cases: high, low, medium. And as per that, we can define. So let's say for high complexity test case, it will take around 8 hours, or medium complexity test case, it will take around 5 hours, and low complexity test case, it will take 3 hours, right? So first we define those things, and then we plan the effort estimation. So in this way, typically we are doing. And also one more factor we need to consider: how many interfaces are also involved. So in your one test case, there's a web, there API is also there, database also are there. So how depends upon your interfaces, depending upon your steps, depending upon your verification point, is this parameter define the complexity. And as per the complexity, we can define the as per the practice, we know that the benchmark which we already have it, the high complexity test case, it will require this amount of time, and based on it, we can calculate those effort estimations.
So can you please elaborate that how low, medium, high you are distinguishing? For example, 10 clicks, 10 screens. In this way, I just want to know that which will categorize the things into high.
So let's say if you have the steps more than 12, okay, for example, and the interfaces, the application, those are more than 2, okay, and verification point also more than 12. So we can consider the high complexity of test case. Okay, that's one combination. Similar for the medium, if the steps between, you can say that 6 to 7, send the verification point 6 to 7, and only one interface, you can medium. And then whatever less than 5 to 6, or one interface and 5 to 6 less than 5 to 6 verification point, it will be a low complexity. So this is the matrix generally we are following.
Fine, thank you. Yeah, this really helped me a lot.
Great. Okay, all right. I don't think we have any other questions. Thanks guys for your participation. Really appreciate. So we will see you in next session. Thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone. So we are closing here. So if you want to attend further sessions, definitely you can join it from RSVP. Thanks again for participating in this. Have a good day.
Thank you.